Your junk drawer isn't a storage problem. It's a decision you keep postponing, one tiny object at a time, until an entire drawer is nothing but postponed decisions stacked on top of each other, each one too small to matter on its own, and completely unmanageable once there are 200 of them jammed into the same space. In Japan, homes run by grandmothers who've kept the same house for 50 years almost never have one single drawer like this. Not because they own fewer objects than you, but because every object that enters their home was given a real job the moment it arrived, decided once and never quietly revisited every time a drawer gets a little too full to close properly. Today, I'll walk you through 6 quiet habits behind that kind of home. Habits many Americans quietly abandon the moment life gets busy. Exactly the moment they'd matter most. Stay until the 6th, because it's the one that sounds strict, and is actually the reason the other 5 never turn back into clutter. Number 2 is happening in your kitchen drawer literally right now, whether you've opened it today or not. And number 5 is a habit almost nobody thinks to set on purpose until it's already too late to matter. Let's begin. Number 1. Every object gets exactly one home the day it enters the house. Decided immediately, never later. Think about the last random object that landed in your kitchen. A spare battery, a rubber band, a takeout menu. In the moment, putting it away properly feels like too much decision-making for something so small, so it goes into the nearest open surface instead, meaning to be sorted later. Here's the mechanism behind why later almost never comes. Once an object has no assigned home, every future version of you has to make the exact same decision all over again, and eventually the path of least resistance wins. It just gets tossed into whatever drawer is closest and forgotten. In a home run this way, the rule is simple and immediate. The second something new comes into the house, it gets a specific spot right then, not eventually, treated with the same seriousness as deciding where a new piece of furniture would go, just compressed into a single quiet second instead of an afternoon of deliberation. The shift, the next time something small enters your home, decide its exact spot within the first minute, even if that spot is simply the trash can, rather than a temporary surface meant to be dealt with later. It feels like an unnecessary extra step for something so small and unimportant, and that exact feeling is precisely why it never gets done, and precisely why the drawer exists in the first place. That's number 1. Number 2, happening in a kitchen drawer near you right now. Nothing is kept purely because it might be useful someday. Rubber bands, twist ties, half-used gift cards, single chopsticks from restaurants years ago. None of them are actively being used, but each one carries a faint feeling of it could come in handy, so none of them ever quite get thrown away. Here's the quiet cost of that feeling. Every object kept on the theory of someday requires real estate today, permanently, in exchange for a use that may never actually arrive. And a drawer full of somedays is a drawer that can no longer hold anything you actually reach for. In these homes, an object earns its spot by proven, recent use, not hypothetical future use, the same standard you'd naturally apply to a job application, recent demonstrated relevance, rather than a vague, unverifiable promise of usefulness someday. The shift, the next time you're tempted to keep something because it might be useful, ask honestly when you last actually used one. And if the honest answer is never, let it go regardless of how useful it theoretically sounds. Almost everyone can point to a single-use item they've kept for years just in case, and almost nobody can remember the case actually arriving even once in all that time. That's number 2. Number 3 is emptying the drawer completely. Every single item removed, several times a year, not just tidied in place. Most people organize a messy drawer without ever actually taking everything out, shifting things around, stacking them a little neater, closing it again with the same items still living there indefinitely. Here's why this never actually solves anything. Reorganizing in place lets every borderline item survive simply because it's easier to nudge aside than to properly evaluate, and a drawer tidied without ever fully emptying it just becomes a slightly neater version of the exact same clutter. In these homes, a full empty and rebuild happens on a regular seasonal rhythm, every single item held up and judged on its own, not just shuffled back into a slightly different position, treating the drawer the same way you'd treat a garden that needs actual weeding now and then. not just a quick glance from the doorway. The shift, a few times a year. Take everything out of your busiest drawer completely, onto a table, and only let back in what you can genuinely justify keeping. Seeing every object laid out at once, side by side, makes the truly useless ones obvious in a way they never are, when they're just one small thing tucked quietly among many others. That's number 3. Number 4 is never letting one drawer absorb the overflow from every other room in the house. A junk drawer rarely starts as one thing. It becomes the catch-all for whatever didn't have an obvious home anywhere else. A stray screwdriver from the garage, a charger cable from the bedroom, a takeout menu from the kitchen counter, all quietly meeting in the same drawer, because none of them technically belonged there in the first place. Here's the mechanism that makes this spiral. Once a drawer becomes known as the place where homeless objects go, it invites more of them, faster than any other drawer in the house, until it's holding the overflow of 6 different rooms at once, each item added by a different family member on a different day, none of them aware how many others made the exact same small decision before them. In these homes, every room's stray items go back to that specific room, even if it means walking an extra 30 seconds to put something where it actually belongs, treating that small walk as basic maintenance rather than an optional extra step reserved for whenever there happens to be spare time later. The shift, the next time you're tempted to drop something in the nearest catch-all drawer, carry it the extra few steps to where it actually lives instead. Those extra steps feel like friction in the moment, and that friction is exactly the point. A home with a little more friction in the wrong places ends up with far less clutter in all of them combined. That's number 4. Number 5 is keeping the total number of small miscellaneous objects deliberately low, on purpose, rather than letting the collection simply grow with time. Most households never actually decide how many spare pens, extra batteries, or backup chargers is enough, so the number just climbs quietly year after year, one holiday, one work event, one free giveaway at a time, until there are 11 pens in a drawer that only ever needed 2. Here's why nobody notices this happening. Each individual addition is completely reasonable on its own. One more pen seems harmless, and it's only the accumulated total, viewed all at once, that actually looks absurd. In these homes, a hard cap is often set without anyone even naming it out loud. A specific small tin for batteries, a specific short cup for pens, and once it's full, something old leaves before anything new is added. The shift. Pick a small, fixed container for your most cluttered category and treat it as a hard limit. One thing out for every one thing in, once it's full. It feels arbitrary at first. Why exactly 2 pens and not 3? But the number itself matters far less than the fact that a real limit now exists at all where none did before. That's number 5. And number 6, the one that sounds strict and is actually the reason none of this ever reverts back to clutter. A full audit of every drawer in the house on a fixed date every single year, no matter how organized everything still looks in the moment. Here's the counterintuitive part. Drawers that seem fine don't stay fine on their own. They slowly refill through the exact same small daily decisions that created the mess the first time, just at a slower pace that's much easier to miss until it's already halfway back to where it started. In these homes, that annual full house audit is treated as completely non-negotiable, scheduled the same way a birthday is scheduled, regardless of how tidy things currently appear on the surface, because the whole point of scheduling it in advance is that it happens whether or not anyone feels like it's needed that particular year. The shift. Pick one fixed date a year. The start of a new season works well, and audit every drawer in your home that day without exception, even the ones that look perfectly fine from the outside. Most people skip auditing the drawers that already look organized, assuming organized means done, when really it just means the slow refill hasn't become visible yet. That's number 6, and it's quietly the only reason the other 5 habits keep working years later instead of slowly unraveling. So here's everything in one breath. Give every new object a home immediately. Never keep something purely for someday. Empty drawers completely, not just in place. Return stray items to their actual rooms. Cap your miscellaneous categories on purpose, and audit everything once a year without exception. Now, as promised, here's a quick test that tells you exactly where your own clutter is actually coming from. Open your messiest drawer right now and pick up the very first item your hand touches. Ask honestly, do I know exactly where this belongs? Or did it just end up here because nowhere else seemed obviously wrong? If you knew, your problem is habit 4, you're simply not walking things back to where they belong. If you didn't, your problem is habit 1, meaning objects are entering your home without ever being assigned a real place at all. And that's the one worth fixing before anything else. Because every other habit on this list depends on it quietly working in the background. None of this requires new organizers, labeled bins, or a single dollar spent on containers built to hide the problem instead of solving it. It requires 6 small decisions, repeated consistently enough that a home simply never gets the chance to accumulate what it never had permission to keep in the first place. Pick just one of these 6 to start with this week, the drawer that's been bothering you the longest, not the one that seems easiest to fix. Empty it completely, decide a real home for everything that survives, and set a hard limit on whatever category keeps creeping back in. Add a second drawer next week, and by the end of a month, most households find the actual problem was never really the drawers at all. It was simply never having decided, on purpose, what belonged in each one. You don't need a bigger house with more drawers. You need a house where every drawer already knows exactly what belongs in it, decided once, clearly, instead of negotiated fresh every single time something new shows up with nowhere obvious to go. Now I want to hear from you. Open your worst drawer right now and count honestly. How many items in there could you not explain the purpose of, or the last time you used, if someone asked you directly? Tell me the number in the comments. And if this changed how you think about your own clutter, send it to whoever in your family has the drawer everyone quietly avoids opening, the one that somehow never gets picked when it's time to tidy up before guests arrive. We'll see you in the next one, and good luck with that first full empty out.